The noise starts before your eyes even open. Notifications, responsibilities, the pressure to keep it all together. But inside, silence. Not the peaceful kind, the hollow kind. You smile at people who wouldn't notice if you disappeared. You show up strong, but deep down you're unraveling quietly. And the worst part? You're not even sure when you stopped feeling like yourself. Habits that drain your energy, thoughts that punish you, people who take more than they give. Moments when you want to scream but say nothing. That's where Stoicism comes in. Not as a theory, but as a lifeline. Not self-care as luxury or escape, but self-care as discipline, as truth, as the courage to rebuild your inner world when the outer one is chaos. This isn't about bath bombs or digital detoxes. This is about learning to respect your soul the way a warrior respects their blade. Stoicism teaches us that real self-love is not soft. It's steady, rooted in virtue, sharpened by clarity, untouchable by chaos. In this video, we'll explore 8 Stoic self-care habits that will teach you how to love yourself deeply and become unshakable in a world that profits from your pain. Write this in the comments: I respect myself. Let's begin. 1. Live by a higher standard. Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt like a stranger to yourself? Like somewhere along the way you started living by someone else's values, chasing things that don't feel right, saying yes when your soul screams no, playing small when you were born to stand tall. Stoicism begins here with the choice to live according to virtue, not image, not approval, not outcomes. Virtue. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Just that you do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter." There are only 4 things you truly need to live by: wisdom, justice, courage, temperance. That's it. Everything else is noise. It's not about being perfect. It's about being in alignment with who you are and who you're becoming. When you ask yourself, is this wise? Is this just? Is this courageous? Is this balanced? You stop living by impulse and start living with clarity. Think of virtue like a compass in a storm. The winds of life will pull, scream, and twist you around. But with virtue, you don't drift, you decide. And in a world obsessed with performance, choosing virtue is the most radical form of self-love. Because when you live with integrity, you stop betraying yourself to please the world. And nothing feels more powerful than that. You feel that, don't you? That quiet strength you've been craving. It starts here. 2. Let go of what you can't control. How many hours have you lost worrying about things you can't change? What someone said? What might happen? What didn't go your way? The mind spins, the body tightens, and still nothing changes. Epictetus said, "Some things are up to us, and some are not." It sounds simple, but most people never truly apply it. They spend their lives clinging to outcomes, opinions, expectations, and wonder why they feel exhausted. Here's the truth. You don't control what people think. You don't control the weather, the market, or the past. You control your judgment, your choices, your reactions. That's it. Imagine your mind as a house. When you let every storm from the outside blow through your doors, criticism, comparison, chaos, you lose your peace. But when you shut those doors and tend only to what's inside, you reclaim your power. It's not passivity, it's precision. You stop bleeding energy over what's not yours to carry. Want to calm your mind? Start by naming what's not yours. Then drop it. And when that fear creeps in, the fear of losing control, remember this. Your peace doesn't depend on certainty, it depends on clarity. Letting go isn't weakness, it's emotional strength at its purest, because only a strong mind knows what to hold and what to release. 3. Master your emotional reactions. Ever felt hijacked by your own emotions? Like a single moment, a comment, a delay, a look, can flip your whole mood, and you're suddenly someone you don't recognize. It's not what happened. It's what you did with it. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Most people live as slaves to their reactions. A bad mood from someone else becomes their own. An insult buries them for hours. An unmet expectation spirals into self-doubt, but Stoicism teaches us this: emotions aren't the enemy. Impulses are. When you feel the heat rise, in anger, fear, shame, you don't have to obey it. You can pause. You can breathe. You can choose your response. Think of your emotions like waves. If you jump in too fast, they toss you. But if you step back and watch, you learn to surf. Marcus Aurelius trained himself daily to do this, to observe without judgment, to pause without suppression, to correct without self-hate. Try this. Notice the trigger. Pause, even just 3 seconds. Ask, is this worthy of my peace? And only then, respond. It's not about being emotionless. It's about becoming unshakable, so that no one, not a stranger, not a storm, can pull you away from your center. That's emotional self-care. Not indulgence, but mastery. 4. Prepare for the worst, and you'll be free. Have you ever been blindsided by life and thought, I should have seen this coming? A broken plan, a sudden loss, a quiet betrayal that shattered your peace. Most people spend their lives hoping nothing bad happens. Stoics do the opposite. They prepare their minds, not to live in fear, but to live with clarity. Seneca called this practice premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. He said, he robs present ills of their power, who has perceived their coming beforehand. It's not pessimism, it's mental armor. You imagine the delay, the rejection, the loss of comfort. You walk through it, mentally, not to suffer early, but to suffer less if it ever comes. Think of it like training with weights. The more your mind lifts the weight of imagined adversity, the less shocked it is when real pain arrives. And here's the paradox. When you face loss in your mind, you start to value what you have more deeply. The coffee in your hand, the person you hug, the breath you just took. Modern psychology confirms this. Mortality awareness increases focus, gratitude, and presence. So take a moment. Imagine something precious being taken away. Then return to it, with fuller presence, sharper love, deeper calm. This is how you stop living in fear of pain. You meet it before it knocks. And in doing so, you realize you've been strong enough all along. 5. Be brutally honest with yourself. Have you ever laid in bed at night, thinking about what you should have said, done, or changed, but buried it under distraction instead? Most people avoid the mirror, not the physical one, the inner one, because facing the truth is uncomfortable. But for a Stoic, it's essential. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations not to impress, but to reflect, to ask himself where he fell short and how he could rise stronger. Seneca did the same. When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, I examine my entire day. No excuses, no filters, just honesty. Think of journaling like cleaning a wound. It stings, but it heals. Not with shame, but with truth. Ask yourself daily, what did I do well today? Where did I act against my values? Did I live with wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance? The goal isn't perfection, it's alignment. And when you do this often enough, you stop living in denial. You stop lying to yourself to survive and start telling yourself the truth to grow. Self-respect isn't built by avoiding flaws. It's built by facing them with clarity, not cruelty. Because real self-care isn't just pampering, it's pruning, removing what's false, strengthening what's real. That's how the soul becomes unshakable. Through reflection, not escape. 6. Choose discomfort to build strength. When was the last time you chose discomfort on purpose? Not because life forced you, but because you knew it would sharpen you. Seneca did this often. He wore rough clothes, ate the simplest food, slept on the floor, not to punish himself, but to train his mind. He said, "Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare," asking yourself, is this the condition I feared? Modern life tells us the opposite. Comfort equals success. But Stoicism flips the script. It says, true strength comes from chosen challenge. Think of your mind like a muscle. Without resistance, it weakens. But small doses of hardship, voluntarily taken, make it resilient. Fast for a day. Take cold showers. Sleep without distractions. Walk instead of drive. Eat without indulgence. Be alone, without running from the silence. This isn't about suffering. It's about remembering that you are capable, that you don't need everything to go your way to be at peace. You don't need luxury. You need inner stability. Discomfort builds that. It teaches you gratitude. It trains your courage. And in time, it frees you from the addiction to ease. The strongest souls aren't forged in comfort. They're built in the quiet, uncomfortable moments where no one's watching, and you choose discipline anyway. 7. Say no like your life depends on it. How often do you say yes when every part of you wants to say no? To obligations that drain you, to people who overstep, to commitments that leave you resentful, tired, and quietly unraveling. Seneca warned us in On the Shortness of Life. People are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful. Time is your most sacred resource. Yet we give it away like it's endless. And in doing so, we lose not just ours, but ourselves. Saying no isn't selfish, it's an act of self-respect. It begins with awareness. Where is your time really going? What pulls your energy away from your purpose? Then comes courage, the willingness to disappoint others so you can stop disappointing yourself. And finally, discipline, guarding your boundaries, not once but daily. No to the party that leaves you empty. No to the call that derails your peace. No to the tasks that aren't aligned with your soul's path. Think of your time like a garden. If you don't say no to weeds, nothing beautiful can grow. You can't do everything, but you can do what matters. And when you say no with intention, you make space for depth, for clarity, for a life that feels fully yours. 8. Win the morning, win your mind. Do you wake up feeling already behind, like the day starts on you, rushing, buzzing, demanding, before you've even taken your first real breath? That's not just stress, it's surrender. Surrendering your peace before the day even begins. Marcus Aurelius didn't do that. He wrote each morning to prepare his mind, to center himself before the world tried to pull him apart. He asked, "What's in my control today? What isn't? What kind of person will I choose to be?" The Stoics knew. The first few minutes of your day are not small, they're sacred. Think of your morning like planting seeds. If you start with chaos, you grow more chaos. But if you start with stillness, you plant focus, clarity, and strength. So before the noise begins, sit in silence, breathe, reflect on your values. Ask, how can I act with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance today? Express gratitude, even for the struggle, even for waking up with one more chance to become who you're meant to be. And the science agrees. Morning rituals shape emotional resilience and decision-making for the rest of the day. You don't need a perfect morning. You need an intentional one. Because when you win that first mental battle, you don't just face the day, that you own it. The path to becoming unshakable. You've just walked through 8 Stoic habits. Not tricks, not hacks, but a way of life that builds real, grounded strength. Live by virtue, and your self-worth won't depend on approval. Let go of what you can't control, and your peace will no longer be held hostage. Master your reactions, and no one will be able to use your emotions against you. Visualize adversity, and you'll face life prepared, not broken. Be honest in the mirror, and you'll never feel lost in your own reflection again. Choose discomfort, and you'll stop fearing it. Say no, and you'll reclaim your time, your energy, your soul. Win your mornings, and you'll command your days. These aren't just habits. They're the armor of people who refuse to be ruled by fear, chaos, or the opinions of others. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire. Seneca faced exile and power. Epictetus lived as a slave. Each found freedom in the same place, gone their mind. That same power lives in you. Start with one habit. Practice it. Let it shape you from the inside out. Because once you learn to love yourself with clarity, with discipline, with truth, you don't become untouchable. You become unstoppable. Comment below. Which of these Stoic habits spoke to you the most? And apply at least 2 today. Your future self is waiting.